Show me the chats. I know we're live. No, we're not live.
And for the record, that is the first time I've done that exact stupid thing. We won't even discuss what that stupid thing was. So there you go. Yes, Chad is delaying the showgasm. That is correct. That is correct. I did not run back to the room and hide under the bed. No, that is not what happened. We are at SEC Media Days at the Omni. I think now we're here. I think now we're ready to go. Never let the Aggie hit buttons. Anwar, how are you?
Man, we're doing good. This is day 2 for us over here, Chad. Wrapping this thing up. Good to see everybody here. You know, this was probably a little bit more of an energetic day than I would say yesterday was. I'd say like yesterday was kind of a non-starter as far as energy is concerned. This one, at least you had a little Georgia today, and that was a little bit interesting to hear some of that. We had some Oklahoma today, and of course, you know, you're the Texas fans, you hear that. A lot of topics that were out there that people were talking about, but you know, this is kind of like the warm-up for tomorrow, because tomorrow's a Texas day, and that's the thing that all of us are going to be more interested in. But today was a good start. Today was a good warm-up act to get to the headliner of this show.
As we go through this, and as you've been covering things here in Dallas, you have not been able to be on the morning show, so I want to get your thoughts on a couple things. And again, as we record this on Tuesday afternoon, it's Wednesday tomorrow, where Sark and the Texas players will be talking. But let's go through a couple of the stars. I think the star of all stars got to be Kirby.
Yes.
So give me your thoughts on Kirby Smart and what we heard from him starting off day 2.
It's interesting, you know, Kirby. First of all, just from a general perspective, Chad, you can tell that this is a guy that can go into a living room and make a pitch. Like, you can felt the connectivity from the start that he got there. He was connected with Nick Saban in the back of the room and telling Nick Saban stories, right? He was talking about things that he did with the commissioner, things that he did with his family. Like, he just kind of went through it. He started talking about his daughters, his children being in different areas of the country, right? And looking on the globe. And, you know, I was like, I wonder where this is on the map. Like he said, it was Croatia. And what was the other country he said? Do you remember?
I believe it was Fiji.
Fiji, yeah. Poor kids are suffering this summer.
I mean, it's tough to be a smart kid now, isn't it?
And so, you know, he was talking about, so it was just like simple creativity stuff, like connectivity stuff that he was doing. And then he started talking about the team. And really, it was interesting when he started talking about that he doesn't focus in on the things of last year that were either successful or not successful, how it just starts over for him this year. He doesn't use that stuff as motivating factors at all. So it was interesting to hear like his take and perspective on, you know, where they are. It was really a humble approach to what you would expect for, you know, wouldn't always expect from a guy that's that successful, but a real humble approach, you know, to it. And so I think when we start thinking about who's the new guy, who's the new Don of the SEC, who's the person that everyone wants to hear from and hear about, I think it's Kirby Smart. Like, I think he's the guy that you look at and say, all right, I want to hear what Kevin, because I've been here, this is my third one. Yep, my third one. So I was here for the Nashville, it was 2 years ago, it was in Atlanta. Last year was Nashville. This is my third one here.
That's 2 years of prep for you, Longhorn fans. He's been prep 2 years. He's been working for you to get ready.
Yeah, because I want to know what it's like. I didn't just want to show up this time. And so he's becoming, before it was Nick Saban. Everybody wanted to know what Nick Saban had to say. This time, though, it was Kirby Smart, and I felt like everybody wanted to hear what he had to say. I think he gives good, informative answers. And then, you know, the rest of the day was good. But I like hearing from Kirby, like, especially knowing that he's going to be coming to Texas and what that looks like, and him talking about the big games. And there's also this whole thing about the conference. Like, we love this conference. Everybody loves this conference. Like, we all love this. We all love
You know, Anwar, for years, a lot of Texas fans, they thought it was just my people. They thought it was just Aggies freaking out about the SEC. It ain't just the Aggies that dig the SEC.
Yes. No, they everybody does.
Yeah.
There is this I don't know, I call it a pride about the conference, but they all feel like this thing is better than anything else that anyone else has. and they're proud of it. And then they talk. The Tennessee coach was talking about being there watching the baseball team, right, and how this whole thing represented. He was saying he was hanging with Rick Barnes, and the hype was so Vivian Barnes, and all this thing, what this means to the conference and the conference success. So you can sense that conference pride that comes about of it. And then, of course, Texas being a talking point throughout the day.
If you want to jump in the chat, please do. Folks getting in the Specs chat right now. Again, a special wrap-up show today. We tell you to get your notifications. Thank you for liking and subscribing and getting the notifications. And we will also do this tomorrow on the Wednesday after Texas is done. When everything is done tomorrow, we'll do another recap show like this about 4 o'clock and let you know what's going on from day 3. Okay, Anwar, the other thing we got today that I thought was important was the first introduction of the new members, and that was OU. Tomorrow it'll be Texas. Today it was OU. Give me your thoughts on Brent Venables, year 2. Hey, I tweeted out a fire hose reference because we all remember that reference at Big 12 Media Days. Give me your thought on Venables, year 2. What'd you see? What you think?
And by the way, what's up to you, J-Doe? I thought he was way more calm and composed. And, he looked like that dog that you just kind of let out in the backyard. And it was just running around everywhere last year. And you just I sure hope that fence is closed. And honestly, when I saw Venables last year, one of my thoughts was, I don't know how long this guy's going to last. This guy's everywhere. This guy is not making a lot of sense right now. Yes, we know about the fire hose inserted in the mouth and blowing and going or whatever the hell that was. There were just other things I was just like, look, I felt he was more calm, he was more composed. I felt more so comfortable. More so like he felt comfortable with who he was as the leader of the Oklahoma team. Felt very comfortable about the quarterbacks, everybody else that was on the team, and it felt comfortable, about Oklahoma being in the SEC. I just felt there was this ease that, okay, I've got this. It's not my first rodeo anymore. Feel good about this. I know where I'm confident at. And so he went on and talked about the things that are Oklahoma and things that he's excited about as relates to the team, especially with the quarterback as well, and everything else, with the guys, everything. So from an OU perspective, if I'm an OU fan and I looked at that and I said, okay, I think my leader's good. And I can feel pretty good about it.
I agree with you. Last year, I thought he was a 2, trying to learn how to be a 1. This year, it felt a little more like a 1. That suit felt like it fit a little bit better. Somebody was asking, and I know, Vivek throwing out, does he still look like Skeletor? He still looks like Brent Venables. That's what you're asking, but he looked more comfortable. And to me, what Texas and OU both need to do is give 2 clear messages. Number 1, respect for this conference and what it is. Number 2, no fear, move forward. And I thought his combination of it, and he did a great job of laying out that company line you've been talking about, the 16-strong SEC we've been hearing about. He laid that out, but then at one point on where he says, somebody asked about, do you think how do you size up in the SEC? How will you fit? And can you compete? He said, OU football will not be intimidated, and we are running towards the SEC. I thought it was a great way to say it. I think there's a slightly different way that Sark could essentially say the same thing tomorrow, but that's the message. Back to, like you said, if I was an OU fan, I'd dig that. I'd be like, you know what? Maybe he's not in 10 years, but right now, that's my head coach. I can live with that.
And he also emphasized that he felt like they've also been building to get into the SEC as well. The state of Texas has felt like they've been building to be successful in the SEC. So, I think there's this view from the outside that Texas and Oklahoma, wow, they may be just overwhelmed being in this big, powerful, mighty conference. I was on doing a couple of different shows today, and that's one of the things I was getting asked. Was Texas ready, for SEC? How does Texas feel about that? And I'm like, I don't know. They don't mean like I don't know, but I meant it sarcastically because I meant I don't know. They went into Tuscaloosa and won by double digits. I feel like they should probably feel okay. I mean, that's something that your member schools haven't been able to do. So, so I feel like Texas and Oklahoma come in here with respect for everybody that's in there, but not with this intimidation that they're allegedly supposed to have. Like, oh my gosh, what are you supposed to do with all these crazy programs? Texas on their end, and I know we're talking Oklahoma, but Texas on their end is probably going to be a top 5 team. They're going to be ranked within there. Oklahoma's probably going to be around the top 15-ish or so. Range. You start thinking about who's the power team in the SEC this year. You don't have a lot of people that's going to hang your hat on. I mean, once you get past the Georgias of the world, and then you start thinking, we got to do a poll later this week about who's going to be our top teams. Consensus probably Georgia at number 1. And anything else you can have a conversation on and go from there. So Oklahoma doesn't come in here with any intimidation. Like, man, what are they going to do facing all these tough teams? They come in and say, we're built for this. We're ready for that. I think Venables reflected.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a lot of stuff now. And Brad's throwing out here says he also said, I don't know if we're ready. Hope so. But Brad, I didn't hear those words. That's not the first words out of his mouth. I didn't hear any kind of hesitation.
Well, he talked about overall they wouldn't know overall until next year, until they get through the SEC. So there was a little bit of hedging when it was all said and done, more so than damn it, man, we're good, we're ready. Right. I got all that. It was like, well, we'll see.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. He said, yeah, and there's no way to absolutely know. And he also knows that the year before last was not up to their standard at all, so they got to figure that out. All right, Chad and Anwar here at SEC Media Days, Day 2 wrap-up show. By the way, Cody, we going to try the lighting or are we not trying? We're not trying the lighting? We got light. We didn't have lights, and then we had lights, but I don't know if that's going to add enough. We got to add. Our man Cody Carpentier is working hard to try to get some lights going here. We'll help a little bit, right?
Yeah,
we'll take anything we can get.
We'll take all we can get.
We will take a little bit, and if it gets more intense and brighter, then you'll know what's happening. We appreciate Cody Carpentier busting his ass for us this week. Also, thank you to Hay City Store, Taste on Main, and Texas Card House. Be sure to check out the shows tomorrow, because tonight we're going to go have dinner with Travis and Tamara. And normally that's a pretty transformative experience. So shout out to Hay City Store and Taste on Main, and shout out to the good folks over there at Texas Card House. Make sure you mention Orange Bloods at any of the locations. So,
by the way, you had to tell people this chair was reserved for Catch. There is a reason why there's a chair.
That's right. There's a chair right here, ready to roll.
Yes.
The boss is going to sit right there as soon as. Apparently, there was a massage that happened, and I don't know. Maybe they.
I think you're opening a door if you say that he's going for a massage and now he's running late.
That's a good point.
I don't think you should go that.
The last message I got was, y'all start without me. I'll be there ASAP. If it had just said y'all go, if it had been y'all go ahead without me, it would have been one thing.
I'm just saying, Heather is somewhere watching.
Fair enough.
And he will be on the phone eventually trying to get back. I'm just saying. Let's just let the massage thing go.
I understand, but Heather knows who she married, and she married a man who does enjoy a massage. Jeff Ketchum's had more massages than I've had hot dinners.
Okay, yes, but he's also an hour late.
He is. Well, it is 30 minutes now. Yeah, you're right.
He was supposed to be done at 3:30.
He was supposed to be done at 3:30, and now he's not here. That's fair.
So Catch, we hope you're having a good time.
Yes, we hope you're having a good time, Catch. We will recognize the chair before we do wrap this thing up at some point. By the way, speaking of our great partners around here, let's let you hear a little bit from Specs. Here's Lisa for you.
Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
All right. Thanks so much to Specs and all of our great partners for helping us get to Dallas. Thanks to Hay City Store, Taste on Main, and Texas Card House, our travel sponsors, if you will, presenting sponsors. Thanks to all the great sponsors. Thanks to all of you jumping in and checking this one out. Again, we're recording Tuesday after Day 2 of SEC Media Day. So we hit a little Georgia, we hit a little OU. So we hit the October back-to-back for Texas, if you will. After an off week, it's the great one in Dallas, right here in Dallas, and then it is back home to face Georgia. What else has stood out to you here the first couple days of SEC Media Day?
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee didn't really do anything for me, didn't move any needle as far as I was concerned. And then we just had Missouri
today.
Missouri, and so there, it was interesting as far as that's concerned because there was a little bit of a question about like NIL and how that's helped them, and how the state of Missouri and how they have things working for them, and he didn't really shy away from that one as far as the help is concerned and what that's doing for them as far as recruiting is concerned. Because when he was asked it, I thought he was going to be offended. Right. I thought like, oh snap, he's gonna pull the wait. You think we're using money to get people to get the way the Kirby gave me? Like, we don't lead with that. Nah. How dare you, sir? That's insulting to the young man who always asks for money when it's all said and done. How dare you? And then let me also go on to say, but it's really good. It can help your family and helps a couple of generations. But anyway, it was interesting to hear him, kind of talk about that and and how it's helped him with that. And then, he mentioned, I don't know which recruit. He talked about something about getting a recruit like a couple of weeks ago. Was he talking about Lamont Rogers?
That was my assumption. Okay. Because obviously he's not allowed to say the name.
Correct.
He said verbal commit.
Yes.
And then, so that is and he said everybody was in on it.
Yes.
Everybody in this room would have been recruiting him. My assumption was that was right.
Yeah, so he talked about, their recruiting success. And he alluded to someone a couple of weeks ago that they were able to obtain. And so, again, they've been growing. Missouri's been growing. They've it's funny, someone asked him about being on the hot seat not too long ago. And again, I was like, ooh, this is, I don't know how that was going to go. When I mentioned, hey, we felt like you were about to get fired. I think his response was the only person that felt that way was Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports. So in any case, it was interesting to hear him. And I only have an interest in Missouri because they go into Texas. They seemingly become a force for some of the guys that Texas is recruiting for. And NIL does help for sure.
Yeah. One thing that stood out to me about Missouri with Drinkwitz was that, back to that answer, he literally used the phrase, the Missouri model of NIL.
Yeah.
So in their region, that has become a thing, that has become a phrase. I thought that was noteworthy. I agree with you. The fact that he didn't get offended. This is what they should be doing, Anwar. Ketch and I talked about it today on the 12 o'clock show. Kirby is more comfortable with it. He shouldn't have. He thought you were asking him one thing, got a little testy, and he didn't wait for the end of the question. Yeah. Your question gave him the perfect platform to take off if he wanted to go any direction. Yeah. He only went with the direction he thought you were going in, but I thought Drinkwitz handled that one pretty well. The other thing I liked was I was standing watching Brady Cook, the quarterback, get interviewed for Missouri. Somebody asked him point blank, is Luther Burden the best receiver in the SEC? He looks him dead in the face, takes a 2.5-second pause and said, yes. And nobody laughed. Nobody, I don't know if anybody's going to turn that into some moment or whatever. But the fact that Missouri might have the best receiver in the SEC, I think is noteworthy. These quarterbacks are impressive to me. Yeah. They're all showing up in tailored suits, looking handsome as hell, ready to roll and display and just, talking it up perfectly. Yeah. I have not seen one quarterback that didn't impress me. I'll admit I missed Jackson Arnold today.
I was there for Jackson
Were
Arnold.
You? Was he good?
He was good. I felt for a young guy who limited playing time and to be on the forefront the way he is. He's literally on the forefront. He played in the bowl game and now he's their starter. For him, I felt like he had a lot of calm poise, showed a lot of the things that he learned about, especially from the bowl game, the interceptions that he threw. I believe he threw 3 interceptions in that game. Learning that's the thing he's got to cut down on if he wants to be a better quarterback. But yes, you can tell there was a maturity there. You can tell the confidence that was there with him as well. So all the quarterbacks, Carson Banks, obviously Jackson. I know it was Jackson. Yeah, it was Jackson. Yeah, yesterday, right?
Dart was, he was
yesterday.
Yesterday.
I thought I mentioned all the quarterbacks seem impressive. It'd be interesting to see how Quinn follows that up. because it's not the longest talker in the world, but he will have the opportunity to talk. So it'll be interesting to see how he follows all those guys.
Yeah, because what we've heard, I mean, we know, Quinn has been in a process of becoming a more vocal leader, and they'd like him to be more vocal and all those kind of things. And then at the end of this whole thing on Thursday, we are not going to hear from Connor Wegman of A&M.
Yeah.
And some of the things that we've heard is that, he is still developing that part of his game as well.
Yeah.
The arm is not the issue, right?
Yeah.
It's just that maybe he's not as super comfortable doing this. Plus, just like with Tennessee, they would tell you, we've got captains we want to bring, we've got experience we want to bring, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how the other, quarterbacks react. But tomorrow it's going to be, it'll be Quinn. Kelvin Banks gets a chance to show off his personality and what he's got. And then Jahdae Barron has a chance to, make an impression as well. I think all these players are doing a really good job using this opportunity.
You want to use that super chat?
Yeah, let's do that. Somebody's got a comment for Kirby here. It says, you should have asked Kirby, with all the car violations, are your players prepping for F1 for football or F1 or football when you come to Austin?
Would have been a great question, Cotton. Probably get someone kicked out.
Yes.
But great question. Love the sarcasm. Cotton, I will save that line for a column in the future.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I like that one. The F1, that's a good point. The F1, is that Georgia weekend?
Yeah, Georgia weekend.
That's perfect. That writes itself.
Yeah, first of all,
that joke writes itself.
I've got to rent out my place for an Airbnb that weekend, week, because that money I can make could probably pay my mortgage for a couple of months, man. I've got to really think about that. By the way, Brad, you asked me when I'm going to be on with SEC Mike. I actually recorded with him today.
Oh, nice.
And so, yes, and I went, that'll be out sometime this week. And I did say, what the hell's the problem? What, you were so popular. You had the world. Texas fans loved you, Mike. What happened?
What has gone on with him? He's being called a Texas hater now.
He has figured out, and I pulled it out. You'll see it in an interview, Brad. You'll see it in an interview. You'll post it. I pulled it out. It doesn't cut it. He's figured out the Billy Lucci model, which is just poke at Texas fans and watch them get riled up.
Okay.
So now what he understands now is like, oh, cool, you guys love me, but look at the flood of attention I get when I just kind of poke at you, and look at how you guys go crazy. And so, it's like kind of like out of the Batman thing when the Dark Knight, when they say some people just like to watch the world burn.
Right, yeah.
I think that's SEC Mike. I just think he likes to watch the world burn.
Fair enough. All right. If you want to throw in another super chat, we can certainly do that. And as we said, we got this chair waiting right here. And I'm just going to be honest. I see our man Ketchup, and he's not sad. I feel like maybe this is not happening. This isn't happening? All right. Should I ask or not? If he was in the city.
Let's see if he actually wants to say that.
So we're playing this out. We're not going to play it out. No, because we're going to play it out. I got you. Okay. All right.
So
we're going to play it out. We're going to play it out. Okay.
Yeah,
so there
for those in attendance, he's like,
should I say, like, do an out loud thing like, hey, Jeff Ketchum can join us if we want to. Should we do that? And just not talk directly to him? 3 feet away. Fair enough. Okay. All right. I mean, he knows. He does know. Okay. There you go. All right.
The fact that he doesn't even know that we're talking about him.
I know.
When he shows how disengaged he is.
That is what it is. That is what it is. So if this chair gets filled, we'll see. Well, who knows? Otherwise, we'll wrap up at some point here. Our man Chris Bennett is asking, how's the food? Food inside and outside the building would be two different things.
Oh, that's drastic.
SEC meals, I think, have been good. Probably I'd say a step up from where the Big 12 was. But in terms of outside the building, Anwar, we've had some good food there too.
Okay, so no, SEC food inside the building, it's almost like cafeteria food to a certain degree.
Okay.
I think it's like cafeteria food. It's okay.
Okay.
Outside of the building, though, we have hit up some really nice restaurants here in downtown Dallas. We got another one that we're going to. Last night, we had this steak in the fried lobster. Chad and I had.
Chicken fried lobster. Chicken fried quail.
Yeah.
The chicken fried quail might be the best thing I had all night.
Oh, no. The drink. The drink.
This man.
The drink.
I mean, I'm volleyball clap for the old fashioned. The morning show is called the Old Fashioned.
Yes.
For some reasons, and one of them is this man. This
love
man
him.
loves his
Connoisseur.
drink. So as soon as I heard the Old Fashioned start to lean towards an Old Fashioned, I said, you know what? I don't have anything in my mind tonight. I'm following. I'm gonna do unless he orders like a dead animal in a glass, right? I'm gonna follow, right? So and then you said. Then the waiter's talking through it, and he said, "Old Fashioned with tequila."
Tequila Old Fashioned.
Your eyes lit up.
Yes.
You said, "Let's go." I said, "Okay, I'll do one too," and it was delightful.
If you never had a tequila Old Fashioned, it's a spin on a normal Old Fashioned. And in this one, not only they did that, they also added a little cinnamon to add some flavor to it. Amazing. Could have gone back for more. In fact, we have dinner tonight at 6:30.
We have dinner tonight.
I'll probably go there beforehand. When you see me stumbling to dinner tonight, you already know.
You may not see me there, but I may be following you. That's why you don't see me there.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Oh,
perfect.
no, it's a fantastic drink. We've had some great food and drink, Chris Bennett, so thank you for asking. And the SEC is definitely taking care of some of those
This is your
details.
first SEC Media Days, correct?
First time.
All right, so what have you thought after 2 days?
I've had a really good time. I'm enjoying, look, as me personally, as a fan, I already loved this conference. Then eventually my team got into this conference. And now the team that I have covered as a primary for 20, 25 years is in this conference. So it's all come together. I love seeing all the logos. I wish there were more helmets, frankly. That's the only thing I would say. SEC, bring me some hats.
Yeah.
Bring me some hats.
Yeah, they got no helmets anyway.
They got a giant SEC helmet or two in there, but they don't have
they
hats.
have giant SEC logo. It's about the SEC. It ain't about the team.
I know. And
It ain't about the team.
They flash,
it's about the logo.
They flash a helmet logo up, and then they go to other things.
And then they go to SEC.
Yeah, so far, I've really had a good time. I'm so glad that I was able to be here and that we were able to do it. And, the next 2 days, you said it, this is the warm-up. And because the House Divided is coming the next 2 days, this is what I'm going to be eating up. These two fan bases getting back together, these two media groups getting back together. The game happens in November. We have scheduled Thursday, 12:20 or so, 12:15, 12:20, we're going to sit Billy Lucci down right next to Jeff Ketchum and see what's going on with those. And that'll be after A&M and Texas have both gone. And we're going to get his thoughts on it. So I've really had a good time. You can tell everything's cranked up from where the Big 12 level was. This is what I wanted for Texas, for all the people, all the fans that I've been, dealing with all through the years, the Texas fans that I've gotten to know. Anwar, it always felt like they were representing a brand and a business, if you will, that just didn't think it was in a badass neighborhood. And for the very first time, the Texas folk and the Oklahoma folk feel like they've got those shoulders bowed back, saying, you know what? Now I dig this neighborhood. Let's go. So I'm pumped about it.
It's easy when you don't have something to say like, it's probably not all bad, right? It's like you see someone and they have a fancy car, you're like, and you driving your car, you're like, it's probably not all bad, right? And then you finally get into the nice car, the nice house, the nice neighborhood, the nice schools, all these things. And you're like, oh, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, right.
It's like last night, the Old Fashioned. Old Fashioned's okay. It's not tequila Old Fashioned. Like, this is totally different.
Yeah,
that's where the SEC is. Texas doesn't have to play that game anymore. We're just not what we do. We're better than that. We're okay over here. We've got us Texas A&M last. We don't care about the rivalry between them. Like, to hell with all that. They're finally like, no. We are here. We're looking here. What does it say? SEC just needs more. Now 16 strong. Huge logos over here. You can see Commissioner Sarkeesian is right in front of us. The mastermind who does it all, who's put together something that's spectacular.
Yeah, and by the way, he has introduced personally every single coach. I never saw a Big 12 commissioner do that.
No.
Introducing every coach with personal stories, conference linking stories. They're talking about all the courts, and it's been
But
really.
he's done that the years I've come. He always does that, right? And then very personable. But you can tell even when he talks, right? You can tell the leadership that he has, and you listen to him talk, and you're like, oh, okay, it makes sense. Like this, you can piece it together. Like this is why this conference works because of him. So it's Texas is finally in a place where they don't have to drive the bus. They could be a passenger and have the success and all the attention and all the things that they want.
And I think that is it's a point that I've tried to hammer home to other fan bases, and they're not quite believing me yet. Mm-hmm. But there was a time, and this was probably in the days before you would have been covering Texas, there was a time where Texas and Oklahoma did want to be these power brokers that got more than everybody else in their conference. Mm-hmm. But right now, they've sensed the landscape. Those two guys got on the phone together, and CDC says, hey, man, hey, Castiglione, hey, Joe.
Yeah.
What about the SEC?
Yes.
And now they have really changed the mindset to where when the SEC says to them, hey, you're going to help us get a whole big pot of money, and then we're going to give this much to Vanderbilt, we're going to give this much to Kentucky, we're going to give this much to you, to OU, to A&M, and to the rest. Are you good with that? Texas and Oklahoma now, it's a resounding yes.
They are absolutely good.
It is a resounding yes. Wait, what's the check going to be? That's what the check's going to be? And we don't have to go to Ames, Iowa. What? Yes. Yes. That's what they're saying.
All right, before we go.
Yeah.
What do you want to hear from Sarkeesian tomorrow? Like, is there something? We've talked about other things we've heard from other folks, but now Sark is coming on. He'll be on the podium tomorrow afternoon. What is it that you would like to hear from him?
I think two things. Number one, the message I mentioned earlier. Show respect to the new conference,
yes,
but also show no fear. I think he should literally lay out that University of Texas will not be entrusted to the weak or timid. I think he should literally lay that out and say we cannot be weak or timid because we're Texas. We're looking forward to Arkansas. We're looking forward to A&M. That whole vibe. And then secondly, I want to hear an even more embracing answer to an NIL question than what we got from Kirby Smart today. I want him to take your question. If you ask the same type, if that question gets asked tomorrow, I want Sark to take it, wrap his arms around it, and be Texas. I've said it for years. There's no more be Texas moment for me than NIL stuff. Transfer and NIL. Lead, lean in, don't be offended by it, and lay out your plan for how you are going to be one of the power dogs in this SEC. Those are the two things I want to hear from you.
Yeah, I want to hear him come in with confidence, respect, of course, to everyone else that's here. You've heard people say great things about Monty Kiffin. That's not only because of Monty, but out of respect for Lane Kiffin, sure, and his family, right? So you respect for them. Of course, that's a good friend, so you want to hear something, you expect to hear something like that. But then outside of that, I want him to have a confidence that, you know what, we belong, we've built for this thing, we're ready for this thing, we're not shying away from this thing. In Texas, we are here. Again, no disrespect to anyone else. We just feel good about who we are and what we are as a program. That's what I want to hear from him, is that confidence going into the season. Because I know when Sark starts talking about how confident he is, then I know that good things are about to happen. Because he didn't start doing that until last year. Last year was the first time he started saying, I feel good about my roster. And when he said that, Ketch and I both said, oh, well, then that must mean something, because he's never said that before. I want to be able to hear that again. If I hear that again, then I know good things are on the horizon.
This is a place for swagger. You know that. You've seen it for the third time now. This is a swagger-type conference.
Yeah.
Sark is unique, I think, in this conference. If it's all dialed up right tomorrow, he's got such a big opportunity. Because L'Oreal's going to put him in something nice. Mm-hmm. Right?
Oh,
He's going to look right. There are coaches in this conference. I'm not naming specifics, but there are coaches in this conference that they put the suit on. They're a guy wearing the suit. Mm-hmm. Sark feels like a guy that needs to wear it, that makes that suit work. You know what I mean? There's a difference in those two things. We saw some of that with players today. Wear that suit, look sharp, and get up there and give that aura we've seen him do. And I'll always say, be effectively boring. That's what you want. Don't cause controversy, but get up there, be confident. I agree with you. I mean, just show that attitude, because I would say that your Red River brother did a pretty good job today and showed that he But Sark's got more experience than Venables. More experience in the SEC than Venables. I think we might see Sark give a little nod to Saban, like Smart did today. Give the mentor some love,
of course,
right?
Of course.
And like you said, on the emotional side, does he know Lane well enough?
But they're being
right. They're close, right? So we would assume there may be an emotional, quick mention of Coach Kiffin and what he's going through with the death of his father. But yeah, it's a big moment tomorrow. I think Sark's going to be up for it, and yeah, let's see. We'll see what the feeling is coming out of it.
All right, man.
All right, let's double check here. I don't think there have been any super chats coming in. We will close it down. By the way, Chris Bennett, I don't know how tall you thought Feinbaum was. Is he that short in person? I don't know. I guess.
He's short. I don't think there's anything about his stature that's ever
he's not a tall man.
That he's a big man.
But like you've heard many times, Chris Bennett, Nick Saban is not the tallest guy in the world, but there's a different presence. You don't have to be tall to have presence.
No.
Nick Saban proves that. I watched those two have an interesting conversation on SEC Network today. That was a fun little moment. All right, so we will be back tomorrow, morning stuff, 9 o'clock or so, around noon. Catch and I'll jump in. Anwar's here covering things. Go to orangebloods.com. Let me throw a QR code real quick there. Just remind you, go to Orange Bloods. The threads are up, and following all the action, the pictures, the videos coming out, and obviously you can follow us on social media as well. Shout out to our man Tyler, our graphics guy that's been dealing with a lot of stuff, and obviously everybody here in Dallas that's working hard. Cody Carpentier, Alex Dunlap, Sonny, Anwar, Catch. We're all here, and we're looking forward to this dinner tonight. Then tomorrow, Texas in the afternoon, second kind of session. It's about 2:20 or so for Sark. Players after that. So we'll have the shows tomorrow before, and we'll do another wrap-up show 4 o'clock or so tomorrow on Wednesday to wrap up Sark and the players in Texas. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and getting your notifications, and for your patience today, because the Aggie was pushing buttons. What are you gonna do? Everybody.